Okay, right, so there is a recording started now for the Wednesday evening broadcast. As you know, we were just having a little look at Aitana, the AI model. If you want to see the discussion about Aitana, you'll have to go to Kick. That's where the stream is being broadcast this evening, in addition to broadcasting on Telegram. If you go to Kick, you should be able to see the whole thing. I'm just kind of going back up through stuff that I had flagged to include in a future broadcast. To be honest, I keep saying stuff about Lady Michelle Mone. I was watching something actually earlier, and I think it was the thing that had been on Talk TV. It wasn't today, it was from a while back. And they were basically suggesting that Michelle Mone should lose her peerage. Allegedly for not being completely honest with the media. And quite frankly, I find that rather extreme, to say the very least. I mean, after all, this is not a case of misleading the House of Lords or anything close to that. This is a case of telling a couple of porky pies to a couple of probably quite pushy reporters who have absolutely no authority. So yeah, I thought that that was a bit OTT, to say the very least. OTT, of course, being over the top. So this little meme here I thought was pretty good. As you can see, a copy of George Orwell's 1984. Apparently in a library, I think. Actually, it only just occurred to me to look and see what other books are on the shelf, in case there's anything else that's kind of particularly noteworthy. Now, I don't know what the book Power is about, but I have heard of Bertrand Russell before. I reckon that's probably quite a well-known book. Next to that, I think that says Lolita. Moving swiftly along, then it looks like Moby Dick, and followed by, can I make this out, is it The Good Soldier, something? I can't make out the bit at the bottom. It kind of looks like Swedish or something. Then A History of Scotland. Right, anyway, yes, as it says here at the top, don't mind me just moving this, in other words 1984, into the non-fiction section. And, well, I'm sure most people will fully understand the need to do that. So just having a little look here, guys, to see what other things I had highlighted. In fact, this is rather interesting. So it's obviously a little bit old because it features Philip Schofield. He is hard to make out, but yeah, he's in this. I'm going to try to let you hear the sound, but I want you to be able to see the text before I play it, because I think it is rather important. And I'm just zooming that up. Okay, so this is a little post from Ricky Rossi, which is also at TrumpManDo on Twitter. And it says, and I quote, AstraZeneca was made in 3 hours. But no worries, they were produced only after they received a download of the virus gene sequence from communist China, no less. So now that we have read that, actually maybe I should just point out that my response to that in sharing it was lights, camera, bullshit. But anyway, yeah. Let's pause it for a second. We'll make it bigger. I'm going to turn on my speaker so as I can at least hear what's being said. I then need to mute myself. Well, actually, before I do that, I'm going to turn on the desktop sound so that you can hear the sound coming through the laptop. The sound is on the clip. The laptop sound is not muted, so I'll be able to hear it through the speaker. And then once I mute myself, I'll hit the play button, and we can all listen to this rather fantastical story.
As soon as we received that code, we were able to immediately start designing the vaccine, and in 3 hours we had a design ready and raring to go.
3 hours to design a vaccine.
So we downloaded the sequences from the Chinese government, we put it into our proprietary algorithm that generates the vaccines, and in 2 hours we had the vaccine already designed and it went straight into manufacture. As soon as we received that code, we were able to immediately...
Okay, just in that 22 seconds worth of video, already I am noting a discrepancy. Was it 2 hours or was it 3 hours? I'm going to play this at least once again, and I would like you to listen carefully, and if you would care to comment underneath, I would like you to tell me whether you think it was 2 hours or whether it was 3 hours to develop the AstraZeneca vaccine that they then rushed into production.
Immediately start designing the vaccine, and in 3 hours we had a design ready and raring to go.
3 hours to design a vaccine.
So we downloaded the sequences from the Chinese government, we put it into our proprietary algorithm that generates the vaccines, and in 2 hours we had the vaccine already designed and it went straight into manufacture. As soon as we received that code, we were able to immediately start designing the vaccine, and in 3 hours we had a design ready and raring to go.
3 hours to design a vaccine.
So we downloaded the sequences from the Chinese government, we put it into our proprietary algorithm that generates the vaccines, and in 2 hours we had the vaccine already designed and it went straight into manufacture.
Okay. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but quite frankly, I have a little bit of difficulty. I still am unclear whether we're talking about 2 hours to develop a vaccine or 3 hours. Either way, I tell you what, it is a hell of a world record, because nobody else has ever done it as quickly as that before. Nobody, nowhere, not anywhere. Okay, so I reacted to a little post by Elon Musk. Elon said the biggest problem that humanity faces is population collapse. Actually, there's a link there as well. What does the link link to? Population collapse is the biggest threat to civilization. Here's what's happening in the world. South Korea's low fertility rate to fall further, warns government. Elon says the population crisis is real. Okay, China's fertility rate is estimated to have touched a record low of 1.09 last year. Births were below 10 million for the first time. This year, expect a third straight year of decline, with births a tenth lower to well below 9 million. Japan's 18-year-olds slip to record low, 1.06 million on falling births. Singapore's birth rate is at a record low. Vietnam's low birth rate keeps falling. Pope Francis expresses concern about Italy's low birth rate. Fertility rate in the Netherlands drops to record low. Indiana's birth rate fell dramatically, dropping from 14.1 births per thousand people to 11.7 per new CDC data. So, yeah. Now, quite frankly, this has actually taken a slight turn that I wasn't expecting. I had ignored the fact that in the original post by Elon that there was a link there, and we've just seen the detail of that link. So actually what I was reacting to was simply just the line that the biggest problem that humanity faces is population collapse. And I had just simply said, yeah, humanity as a whole, although some people shouldn't breed. So yeah, but in terms of actual, in terms of what's actually happening, they give the statistics there for all around the world, and so notice Jen here, Jen Renee says excess mortality is up 20 to 40% in highly vaccinated countries. I'm not sure how accurate that is. That sounds very high to me. I have a little bit of a doubt as to whether that's just quite accurate. I know it is up, and I think there's absolutely no disputing the fact that excess deaths have increased. As to whether or not it's to that extent, I'm a little dubious. Let's put it this way, I hope that's incorrect. Okay, so this account, that person there says glamorize having kids, support having kids, stop indoctrinating youths into thinking people are using up Earth's resources so they're not scared to procreate, and for heaven's sake, please provide excellent childcare. Who could disagree with that? This guy says taxation is a tax on family formation. Easier to have kids if the government would back off. And Calisthenic Kyle says most people are choosing not to have kids for selfish reasons. Money plays a big factor. Hoping that the age of abundance solves this problem and people can make more people. I am a tweep says Elon wants more population to get more people signed up on X. As you might say, the truth is out there somewhere. Tesla Model Doge says the answer is to make kids. So, oh dear. Right, some of the comments are better just passed over, quite frankly. I'm not sure what's supposed to be going on the horse there, but let's not worry too much about that. Goodness, I didn't know that Elon had got himself a little part-time job. Not perhaps the best likeness. I mean, the head just seems slightly too big for the neck and shoulders, in my opinion. But other than that, yeah. Can you imagine Elon in a Starbucks? Now, there's a thing here, I don't know if this is a film or what it is. Population, The Birth of Control 2023. 52 minutes long. Guys, I haven't seen this, but I'm curious. I suppose, do you know what? Why not discover stuff in real time? Let's take me off. Where am I? That one. So if I do that, you'll be looking at a black screen. Fantastic. Right, now that we've dimmed the lights, let's shut me up, and you can watch the first couple of minutes of this. I'll be back in a couple of minutes, so don't nod off. I'll be watching.
Over this past century, the human population and its relationship to available resources has been a highly contested, extremely controversial, and steadily evolving subject. Which is why today, opinions, approaches, and predictions vary greatly depending on who you ask. Though most experts do agree there is a population problem, what that problem is, or exactly how to solve it, remains a topic of heated debate. On one side, many experts worry that the world is already overpopulated and believe human civilization in its current state of growth is unsustainable. Meanwhile, on the other side, leading experts are concerned downward fertility trends indicate an almost imminent population collapse if we don't encourage growth. Fascinatingly, all of this worry and concern from both sides is based on different interpretations of a lot of the same data. These differing interpretations often lead to vastly different predictions of future outcomes based on how the expert in question has learned to understand the problem they're trying to solve. In this episode, we'll be exploring multiple turning points in the evolution of not only how the population problem has been understood, but also how it would be explained to future generations.
The name of Jonas Edward Salk entered our lives with startling and welcome suddenness nearly 20 years ago. It was 1955. The National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis had just announced the results of a nationwide test of the newly developed Salk vaccine. It worked. Crippling polio could be prevented. Almost overnight, Dr. Salk rose from the obscurity of a medical research laboratory to the role of an internationally acclaimed hero. His name, a household word.
Dr. Salk, medical science in your own work included has wrought near miracles in keeping more people alive and keeping them alive longer, and in the process it's contributed to one of our most important problems today, that is the problem of overpopulation, of how this planet can sustain that kind of a population growth. Are we headed on an apocalyptic course?
The period in which we are now is one of very rapid change associated with a rapid increase in population.
What kind of values, excuse me, what
Yes.
kind of values do you see changing? What do you see evidence of changes in the value system? In young people, for example, is it?
Especially, they are born into what I think of as a new epoch. I refer to it as Epoch B, as distinct from Epoch A. And they are influenced in the shape of their thinking and of their perceptions by the world in which they are, into which they're born. They are influenced in the shape of their thinking and of their perceptions by the world in which they are, into which they're born.
In his somewhat extensive work on this subject, Dr. Salk explains the transformation is occurring through a myriad of small changes at every level of human life. As conditions change, each generation is born into circumstances that are different from those experienced by the preceding one. Through different experiences, each develops different viewpoints and different values. Over a period of time, as values change, so will relationships, and with them, institutions. According to Dr. Salk, human values in Epoch A had been definitively anti-disease, and so focus was on death control. But in a new pro-health value system, birth control would become equally, if not more important to future generations, being born into an already overcrowded world.
Right, folks, we've seen the first 4 minutes of that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get the link for that, and I'm going to post that into the Telegram channel, and you'll be able to watch it from there, should you choose to do so. It's also available on YouTube apparently. Okay, but as I say, I'm going to post that actual link into the Telegram channel. It's in there now, and actually that's what I'm going to watch whenever I finish the broadcast, I think this evening. Very interesting. Very interesting information there about sort of how over a period of time what's important can shift, I suppose, in essence. Isn't that basically what we're saying? So let me just see if there was anything else that I wanted to... Oh yes, this little video, I don't know if there's any sound with it. I came across it earlier. Now it is from an account that I kind of called out as being slightly related to misinformation which was coming from the People's Voice TV, but I have to say the Died Suddenly account merely shared it. It's not that they were the source of the misinformation. So I just want to put this up. I'll put it up in full screen, and if there is any sound, I will let you hear that too. Clearly footage taken from a gym or somewhere like that. The person to keep an eye on is this person in the white top in the middle. I think it's a female, but I'm not too sure. But they appear to be... I don't know if they're unwell or if they're just simply exhausted or what, but they seem to need assistance from the staff in the place. So I'll take myself off there, and we will have a quick watch at this. It's only just less than 40 seconds long. Right, I just wanted to watch that a couple of times because you see different things at different points. In fact, if I do that, I'll be able to pause it. So at the very start, you can see that the person is standing with their legs on either side of the exercise machine, which I suppose would be normal if you were either kind of taking a break from running or walking, or if you were just kind of getting set up. And then I suppose what's remarkable is the head pointing downwards here, so it's as if the the person is, I don't know, focused on something in front of them down low, or knackered. But I think the reality is that they're actually on the verge of losing consciousness, or at least that's how I've interpreted that. Let's watch a little bit more. So, I mean, they do get their feet on the thing. In fact, yeah, so she, I think that's a she, but as you can see, she's kind of, she seems to have like one hand on the side, and the other hand is just kind of, the right hand, her right hand is just kind of hanging by her side. Now, actually, just notice the guy beside here. Now, he looks as if he may be a staff member as well, given the shorts and the dark top. And notice she's already got his attention here. Let's take this back, actually, just to the start, and just watch at what point does this guy begin to pay attention, or is he already? I think he's not actually really paying attention just here, but as you can see, head right down here. Now this is 2 seconds in, previously we were up to 10 seconds. Just watch this guy and see when does he turn his head. He's kind of having a look there now, and oh, so when he sees her kind of go from where she was, head down and head back towards the back, he's focused. He's thinking there's something wrong here. This guy is also looking in that direction. Not sure if he's picked up that there's an issue just yet. Let's play a little bit more. He's moving closer. He's still paying attention. She does appear to be walking a bit, but this hand and arm are just not really where you would like them to be. Head, again, still pointing downwards. Really, you want to be facing up, watching the screen, or at least making sure you don't walk into the damn thing. Nope, a little bit of buffering, and she's just a little unsteady. Keeping the left hand on here, at least she is making progress up towards where she should be, but the head's still not where it needs to be. So the guy here, he reaches her, he obviously tries to engage with her. She then actually appears to be sort of trying to face the other way. Meanwhile, the guy to her right is actually now starting to pay attention as well. Right hand still not going up onto the bars or anything like that. He's grabbed hold of her here because she's starting to look really unsteady, starting to almost collapse. Meanwhile, the guy beside here, he is really starting to look quite concerned. He's got a good grip of the bar here, so he's ready to spring into action, which I think he is about to do. Yeah, there she goes, she's going down. This guy, meanwhile, he has hopped off, he's come over and he's hit the emergency stop, I think. Now look at the angle of her feet there, they're both pretty much basically behind her, and at this point, essentially, the guy here is actually supporting all her body weight, barring whatever amount is still going through her legs and knees, but it's very, very minimal at that point. So she's able to kind of get back up again a bit. Meanwhile, this guy's decided, right, time to come off. She is really basically losing consciousness. As you can see, she just can't support her own weight. And at this point, they're actually supporting her head and neck by the look of things. So it does appear as if she has lost consciousness. Now, that could be for any amount of reasons. It could be that she has fainted. It could be that she has had a sudden dip in her blood pressure, which has caused a faint. Or indeed, there are other causes as well, which I'm sure many of those people watching will be able to suggest what the cause might be. Okay, so as this person has pointed out, he says, this page is a massive problem. You just feed an arbitrary video of someone having an ambiguous problem, and without knowing anything about their history, family history, state of health, state of nutrition, state of mental well-being, addiction to drugs, etc. You just show the video to a bunch of people who follow a page for the precise reason of wanting to believe it is something in particular, and then lo and behold they do interpret it that way. It's actually causing people to become stupider, and they are starting to actually view the clamour of Twitter as legitimate medical advice. This is one of the saddest consequences of social media, and this page contributes to that. You should feel genuinely ashamed. These people don't know how to interpret information properly. The last thing they need is for you to water them with fear. Well, I suppose in a way that's why the likes of myself and other people who who do watch and comment on this kind of content. I mean, maybe not everybody does, but personally I try to be as objective as possible. I try to consider what other options there might be. Now, I mean, some of the potential options are alluded to in what that post says, and so I mean, when they talk about history, family history, hypothetically speaking, I suppose this could, I mean, to add to what I've already said, this could be somebody who may have some kind of history of seizures. They may have some, they may have diabetes. It could be somebody who is not well. Although why you would go to the gym if you're not well, I'm not too sure. State of nutrition, hypothetically, it could be somebody who hasn't eaten for days and days. Could be somebody who is dehydrated. Could be a drug addict. But again, I'm finding that quite unlikely, to be honest. And the mental well-being I also find quite unlikely as a potential cause for what we see here. What I think is, to me, the most likely things, and I'm particularly taking into account this right arm, just really seems paralyzed, for want of a better expression. Almost throughout. Now, she does actually manage to raise her hand and her arm there, look. At least for that period of time. But then, we just have the basically total collapse, even needing help to bring the feet forward and also to support the head and neck. It's like a collapse, but it's almost like a worsening collapse, in as much as she appears to lose consciousness once she is actually nearly on the ground, which is really pretty. It's bad, quite frankly. And I mean, from what I can see, that looks like a relatively young person. Now, I mean, it is filmed from a bit of a distance, and it's difficult to say for sure. But I would have thought, I'd be surprised if she's even 40. From what I can see there, I would have thought she's more likely in her 30s. So I'm not going to give anybody the satisfaction of suggesting what as it says here, wanting to believe it is something in particular. I'm not going to suggest what everybody is alleged to be wanting to believe that it is. I mean, hypothetically speaking, it could be some kind of neurological issue brought about perhaps by a clot somewhere, like a stroke, some kind of a TIA type situation. Although, I mean, to me it appears as though there does seem to be a little bit of at least temporary paralysis on the right hand side, even that it's only affecting her arm, as I say, temporarily. So I don't know, very, very difficult to, well, nobody really can know, and in fact I don't think a hospital would even be able to say what's happened there without running a lot of blood tests, and possibly even a couple of scans and things as well. It is curious nonetheless. This other account points out here, before 2021 in the Western world, people were not dropping left, right and centre. Indeed, this could be non-related to vaccine injury, but there is a trend that can't be ignored, reported by coroners and honest doctors. I think, to be honest, that is pretty much fair comment. And I mean, it's not just, what has changed is not just an increase in mortality, but it is also an increase in all sorts of disorders to do with cardiac conditions, circulatory issues, neurological issues, all those sorts of things. So here's another suggestion. The most accurate answer here, I think this is just a case of overtraining leading to fainting. Possibly. This one says, you're right, and it's sad the miseducated and uninformed eat it up as truth. Russell Tracy, no, stay focused. It's all caused by climate change. Now, this one, LA Vibes, says, clearly vax damage. This never happened pre-2019 in gyms. Actually, yes it did. If it was somebody that had trained too hard and fainted. So yes, that clearly was a possibility. And actually, pre-2019 doesn't make sense. I think what you're trying to say there is pre-2021, because of course COVID vaccinations were not rolled out until mid to late December 2020. They began in the care homes and then moved on to healthcare workers around about the new year in 2020, and I think the first months that showed big increases in excess deaths was it February, March, April of 2020, whereas prior to the rollout of the vaccines, actually, if anything, there were fewer excess deaths. Guys, that is pretty much it for this evening, I think. I will be back again tomorrow evening at 9:30. Same time, same place. So yeah, back tomorrow, 9:30 on Telegram, t.me/cheapskate streamer, for tomorrow's evening broadcast. If you have been watching, please consider subscribing to the channel on Telegram. Thanks for your attendance, and yeah, look forward to seeing you tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to go and watch the video that I posted the link for into the Telegram channel. Have a great end to your Wednesday.